The earth is rumbling with rumors, the sky is falling with leaks, and so it's high time for Switchforce to bring you 10 big E3 predictions. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from Switchforce. Gabe is here, and the show is closer than ever. But before we reach June 12th, we've got our big predictions for E3 2018. And you do not need a QR code. You do not need a reservation. Gabe, take it away with your first big E3 idea.
I've been saying this all along. I think that Smash is a new game, and I think it is releasing in September. There is like a recent rumor stating the last day of August or something like that. It does happen to be a Friday, but I do think it's going to end up coming out in September to coincide with the launch of the online service, and I fully believe it's a new game by this point. I've always said that. You at first thought I was crazy. You were convinced it was a port. I think since then you're skewing a little bit more in my direction. So
I'm still very up in the air. I still can see it going either way.
It still feels like, hey, new game to me. Like, that's the vibe I'm getting. I of course, have nothing to base this off of except vibes and little tangential things here and there. But, yeah, Smash, new game, releasing in September. That's going to be my number one prediction.
All right. I think that's totally plausible. My thing is I feel like Nintendo would commit to the game being the focal point of the show, whether it was new or deluxe or something in between. So we'll see. My first one is in relation to the Star Fox Grand Prix stuff that's been going around. Retro making this Diddy Kong Racing F-Zero hybrid that features Fox, Falco, and Co. I think it's 100% real, and I think it is going to be really good. I think while the idea seems a little bit odd, and maybe it's not what anyone would have asked for, I think it could be a really great addition to the Switch lineup and also to Nintendo's library as a whole. Bringing in another racer and one that mixes the gameplay style up a bit while still bringing that multiplayer madness will be a fantastic thing. And we're probably a ways away from a Mario Kart 9 game, so I think this is going to be a great chance to offer a new racing experience with Nintendo characters in kind of a way that has not been visited in quite some time.
I'm not opposed to this being real at all. I guess the only thing that I take away from this is, hey, they said that this is going to be a lot of 2018 stuff. The rumor says if this is real, it's a 2019 game. That doesn't absolutely mean that it won't be there. But, that's kind of a bummer that, hey, if this is really cool, we're not going to get to see it until next year. But, yeah, I can see it happening.
Yeah, and even though Star Fox is not my favorite franchise by any means, the idea of, like, this crazy racer with bosses and different vehicles and being able to be Crystal or Slippy or whoever, I don't know. For some reason, it just like really gets me excited, especially at the speed of F-Zero. If that's what they're gunning for, that could be really great.
Absolutely. Now that we've talked a little bit about a couple of things we think, well, in one case we know is going to be there, the other one we think is going to be there. My number two is I don't think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be there at all. I don't think we hear about this. I don't think we see a gameplay trailer. I think this is completely omitted and it doesn't get mentioned whatsoever.
This is probably the prediction that we differ the most on, I'd say. I think that, it just would be so odd to me to skip an entire year with Metroid. But
I think it's happening. It feels like they have so much else to focus on, right? Especially with Pokemon rumors.
Here's what I'll say. If Pokemon does get revealed this month, I think there is a vacuum that needs to be filled by Metroid.
Well, I have another prediction that will fill that void here in a little bit. But yeah, I do think that Samus is taking a backseat at the C3. It's a game for next year. Hopefully we get a Metroid specific direct. That's my hope. I don't want to hear about Metroid this year if we're not getting it this year.
Okay. Could be. I'll say that my second is that Ubisoft is going to bring another big exclusive. They were very successful with Mario + Rabbids Kingdom Battle. That was one of the best surprises of the first year of Switch and one of the coolest moments at E3. We know that a number of publishers are pretty dedicated to the Nintendo Switch, and I think Ubisoft is one of those. We haven't heard a lot from them in terms of what they're bringing. There was that Steep port that kind of just dematerialized, vanished.
It fell off a slope somewhere.
Yeah, it got lost in the snow, frozen in time. But I do think they bring another exclusive, and whether that is a Nintendo iteration of an already existing franchise or something brand new altogether, a leaker was hypothesizing a return of Red Steel, which would be odd, but I wouldn't be opposed to. I think any chance we can get to get a third-party exclusive is a big deal, and I feel like Ubisoft is going to be the one to bring it this E3.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna tally, who was more right on these, Zach, but I wish you kind of would have said another big third-party exclusive and not like made it Ubisoft specific. But hey, you made your bed. You're gonna have to lie on it when somebody else is.
It's gonna be a comfy bed. Rabbids was such a good bed. People thought it would be an awkward, kind of irritating bed, but it was actually Tempur-Pedic.
Yes. All right. So you spoke about this void that Metroid would be leaving here in a little bit, right? So I think that my number three prediction, Pikmin 4 being announced and releasing this year, would absolutely fill that void.
Music to my ears.
Yeah, we've heard about the game for so long now. Like years ago, like Miyamoto said, like, hey, it's almost done.
Right.
And of course, it got migrated over to Switch. That's probably a no-brainer. And I think it's time to show it. We know that this game exists, and it's been far too long. Just throw it out there now at this point. It's a good time, and it will fill out one of the fall months in a pretty good way, I think.
Yeah, that would be magical to me. I'd love Pikmin 4. Pikmin 3, I think, is one of the most underrated Nintendo games of quite some time. I don't want to get too excited for this because there hasn't been any rumor, any inkling that this is hitting. It makes sense, but I'm concerned that so many rumors have led us down other paths that maybe those paths are what E3 follows. But I would absolutely love this. In fact, this is, if you didn't take this is going to be one of my predictions because I don't want to get too excited, but I feel like you're right. I feel like it more so than like Animal Crossing, more so than say another franchise like a Kid Icarus coming out of nowhere. I think this one, unless the game got canceled, which would seem odd, it feels like it needs to release. All right, so for me, I'm going to say it's Mario Party time. I feel like that franchise will be brought to Switch, and hopefully in a really good way. There's always a chance that Mario Party is a downward decline into just awkwardness, like some of the latest releases. I do feel like the 3DS one that came out most recently was pretty good. So if they can return back to more of the console style and integrate some of the things that they have improved upon, that would be really cool. You look at the list of games that are coming out. Smash Brothers obviously is a big party title, but we think about Yoshi, we think about Fire Emblem, we think about Captain Toad. Something else multiplayer would make a whole lot of sense, and something that kind of tilts in the more family direction. I don't think we're getting any Labo kits, so something that could kind of fill that spot. Mario Party would be a great one. Tennis Aces is releasing midway through the year, so let's bring Mario back once more with a board game style game for the fall.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask. Do you think that maybe Mario Party Aces fills
Mario
that
Party
gap?
Aces. It's tennis on a board.
Sorry. Well, Mario Tennis Aces. Excuse me. I'm looking at.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think Mario Tennis Aces kind of like fills that gap a little bit as far as like, hey, this is like the game you're going to play when your family's over. This is the party centric game. Of course, it's not a Mario Party game, but
right. I mean, I think it could. I wonder if it's too specific and too sporty to do that. We've seen they're doubling down on the gameplay, right? They're really expanding that into what for us is a much more hardcore title. And we'll have to wait and play it at I guess, beginning of June before E3 to find out for sure. But given how they've talked about this family focus and given what they've got going on, I wouldn't be surprised to see another opportunity to have like that couch co-op, couch competitive multiplayer action. And Mario Party is one that seems like it would be a quicker dev cycle and would make sense to sort of slot in if we're going to say that like Metroid or Star Fox Grand Prix aren't making it this year.
Please give it online.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah,
that would be really big. I definitely want to steal your stars online.
You're not touching my stars.
Just you wait, Gabe.
All right, so let's get into my number 4 prediction here. You touched on another third-party publisher here a little bit, and I think Bethesda's going to do something again on Switch, right? They've shown a lot of support with Doom, Skyrim. We have Wolfenstein still releasing a little bit later in the year, and it feels like they have so much, right? They announced Rage 2 before E3. They have said like, hey, this is our biggest E3 presentation we've ever had. And this is, I believe, the third year in a row where they have like their own like conference. So they have to have a ton of stuff to show, I feel like. And that partnership with Nintendo should continue. By all means, Skyrim and Doom sold really well. Wolfenstein 2 seems to be another like really well handled port. So I can see them bringing something else. I don't think it's going to be anything original, obviously, but a Fallout port of some kind is something a lot of people have been clamoring for, whether it be New Vegas, whether it be Fallout 3. They can go a number of ways with that. I personally wouldn't want this, and I know you wouldn't either, but I know a lot of people wouldn't even mind Morrowind, like an older Elder Scrolls game. People would want that on the go. Like, I know that for a fact. So, something on Switch that they can get out. But honestly, my biggest hope is The Evil Within. Give us one or two or a combination of both. I feel like that's like a really solid franchise now. And if we don't see like a third entry, which is probably too soon for that, bring it over to Switch.
I'll be really interested to see if they do bring a port from the past few years, or if they rather go the route of a day-and-date release, because they did say they were open to either of those things, and that it would just be based on what made sense and what worked. So, we've heard rumors of Starfield, we've heard rumors of Doom 2. Is there any hope or opportunity that they bring something like that to Switch at the same time, or are we thinking, like you said, dig back into that catalog? I feel like Fallout is the one, if they were going to do that, and I think that would be a really cool get, even if it is an older game. Just do what they do with Skyrim. Throw in some weird Nintendo accessories or weapons or whatnot, and I'm back on board, especially if it's New Vegas. All right, so I'm gonna say for this fourth one, this was the one that I could have gone either way. Either that no, it's like with finality not happening, or yes, it is, and that's Mario Odyssey DLC. And the more I look at it, the more I say yes, it is. And I think they've just been biding time to release. We do have that quote where they said, hey, we've got nothing to announce at this time, but if there was the right idea, we'd make it happen. And the right idea is obviously New Kingdoms. Now, the leaks that have been out there, Gabe, we know are not real. They're all fake to the fullest extent. But Balloon World and costumes, I don't feel do the game justice. And they were willing to lean so heavily into DLC for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Splatoon 2 is chock full of updates. It feels like Mario shouldn't be left behind. So a perfect opportunity to integrate some DLC, some Kingdom DLC is at E3. And, given that it's a 2018 focus, I feel like that is a big enough update that, not that it holds a whole month, but it will have power and clout to keep the Switch relevant whenever it releases and bring a lot of attention to the platform.
Yeah, you spoke a little bit about the fake leaks, right? But there's also some other stuff that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but someone dug in through like their save file. They were looking at like the code behind it, and there seems to be room for 3 more kingdoms somewhere in the code. So people started speculating, hey, could there be like 3 new kingdoms? And that would be really, really exciting. Of course, like new playable characters. Another leak that we're not going to talk about said that there was a certain other group of characters that were going to be playable that would break the game. Man, I don't think that's happening either. But yeah, this is one that I want to happen so badly. I want an excuse to go back and finish Mario Odyssey, because I never even got to like finish it. I want to go back, collect all this like every single moon. Like, so many people had so much fun with that, but there was a lot of reasons why that game fell by the wayside for me. And New Kingdoms is a great incentive to jump back in, and that's all.
Absolutely.
I want.
Yeah, I think that'd be a really great fan moment, and also just a smart inclusion on Nintendo's part.
Let me ask you this though: season pass or just like a single like?
Yeah, I think at this point you can't do a season pass, because it would have needed to be integrated from the start. So I think it's a $20 New Kingdom expansion. Maybe it's 2, maybe it's 3. But I do think they lean into their nostalgia, and whether it's we've seen rumors of Delfino, Luigi's Mansion, whatever it is, I feel like that's where they'll absolutely go.
Cool. All right, so to finish up with my predictions, I think we are going to get another Wii U port of some kind. We've seen tremendous success with the ones that have been out. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is still not out, and that's still coming by all means. But I think it's very hard for Nintendo to ignore that them re-releasing these games that didn't do as hot on the Wii U is being very fruitful, and it's probably a lower investment than making a brand new game. That's just a fact. So I can see the Wonderful 101 finally coming, right? We've seen teases, we've seen Platinum mention this a ton
They're like begging for it practically.
Yeah, so I can see that this happening, and me thinking, I think that them begging for it doesn't mean that it's not already happening. I think like there's a chance that they have like a working version of the game, and they're just like still just like being fun and like teasing things for no reason. So I think we at least get one more Wii U port, whether it be Wonderful 101, maybe some Mario Maker. I don't want this at all, but I wouldn't even be surprised at a new Super Mario Brothers like Wii U like thing.
Yeah, I think we absolutely get a Wii U port. I don't know what it is. I don't feel confident enough in any direction. The Mario Maker, the control thing is still what I don't know how they overcome that perfectly, nor do I know if they would just rather jump to Mario Maker 2 and not sort of sully those waters. But I absolutely think we get another Wii U port. I would not be surprised to see the HD Zeldas carried over in some capacity as well. I think that would make sense. But yeah, we're not getting out of that show without something from that console coming to this one. So I think Wonderful 101 would be cool. It's one that I'd want. I want to play that.
Yeah.
We'll wrap with my final prediction, which is that the Yoshi game disappoints and the Fire Emblem game shines. I really am worried about that Yoshi title. We haven't seen hardly any of it. I feel like it will be too casual for me, and I don't know what they could do or what they could introduce to I don't know. I have a weird feeling about it, and I'm open to it being great. And if it is, awesome. But I feel like we obviously will get information on these two titles, and one of them will be lackluster, and one of them will be really impressive. And I feel like Fire Emblem is going to do enough, and in the visual department and in sort of the overall concept, to be an exciting game that expands, expands the audience, expands the sale capacity, and anchors whatever month it releases as a really cool top tier Switch game. It doesn't have, it won't have reservations at E3, but it's one that I'm super excited to play and see what's going on.
Yeah, I don't feel that same skepticism about Yoshi. I think the game looks like really cool from what we've seen, and I hope that that's awesome.
So little.
No, we've seen
That one scene.
No, we've seen stuff in the treehouse. I think we've seen enough Yoshi. But my question to you is Fire Emblem. Do you think it's one or two games? It's a console
One.
Fire Emblem, so
One.
probably one. But just because
I don't think you can. I don't think you can say, "Hey, Pokemon's 2, Fire Emblem's 2, open your wallets." I think they got to balance that carefully, especially at the $60 price point. Because remember, Fire Emblem would fall into the same trap as Pokemon. Of now it's $20 more. That's a lot to ask. So I think they Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee and walk those out at 60 each, and then Fire Emblem's just one game. Like let's not get too carried away, Nintendo. Four copies is too much.
All right.
So that is our predictions. We'll run through them again for you. That's Smash Brothers being a new game and releasing in September. Star Fox Grand Prix being real and actually being really cool and a great addition to Nintendo's library. We've got Pikmin 4 announced and coming this year. Ubisoft bringing another big exclusive, whether it's something from an already established franchise or all new altogether. We've got no Metroid Prime being shown, an absence from Samus. Mario Party reappearing and arriving on Switch. Bethesda bringing one of their titles, new or old, to the platform. Mario Odyssey DLC finally being fully realized. Another Wii U port, and quite probably Wonderful 101. And then Yoshi being a bit of a disappointment, and Fire Emblem really impressing. Let us know how you feel about our top 10 predictions. Any of your own, feel free to put them in the comments down below, or which of these you think is most likely to happen, you most agree with, you most disagree with. We'd love to hear. Stay tuned for all the great E3 stuff. We will be there. We'll bring it all your way, so make sure to be a part of that. And then follow us on Twitter and Discord. There's links in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Have a fantastic day. And until next time, get excited for E3. I know we are. So until next time, everyone, thanks again for watching. Have a fantastic day. From myself and Gabe, Switch Force, out.